for the plebiscite. So what the people of Kashmir are struggling and fighting for over a decade is to hold fair and free election so that they can decide their own future. India is adamant in telling to the world that Kashmir is their integral part. Kashmir is not their integral part. And in fact, Kashmir is an issue which is an unfinished agenda of the partition of the subcontinent.
Mr. Kasuri, on that note of free and fair election or plebiscite, now let me go to Mr. Thakur. Now, Mr. Thakur, now, far from having a general referendum or a plebiscite in that Indian-administered and controlled region, now, what factors can you enumerate that would really contribute to that fairness and freedom of any election?
Well, the first thing is, how can anyone possibly hold a referendum or a plebiscite or any kind of election in Kashmir when there are 1.2 military personnel in Kashmir? It is the highest ratio of civilian to military personnel ratio in the world. This is a joke. It makes a complete mockery of democracy. So in respect to how to hold a free and partial election, the first thing is they need to remove the military personnel. The second thing is they need to allow the leadership of the separatists, the ones that they call separatists. For example, Mirwais Umar Farooq, for example, Gilani, Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, Shabir Ahmed Shah, Umar Farooq, Yasin Malik. They need to allow these people to hold their own referendum, so to speak. Let the people go out and demonstrate. This is what you call a democracy. This is what you call freedom of speech. There is no point in holding an election if you will not let the people decide their own fate. India will only want to hear one thing, and if they can't hear it, they don't want to allow anyone else to speak it. They want to hear that, that there is normalcy in Indian-occupied Kashmir, and that the people of Indian-occupied Kashmir want to accede to India. This will never happen. 2.3 million people came onto the streets during the summer. I was there, I was present. 2.3 million people came to the streets, demanding freedom. Freedom from those that occupy us, and those that are occupying us are Indian forces. So holding an election to decide which party should be the next puppet regime to India is ridiculous. My friend Shabir in Kashmir, I understand that he said that this is a referendum of an internal matter. But there is no internal matter. We cannot deal with an internal matter until the general problem is solved. The general problem is that we are being subjugated by Indian forces. And until that is solved, we cannot decide our future inside Kashmir.
Now, Shabir Ahmed, I do want to hear your reaction to what our London guest said, but so far as Omar Abdullah, the young and new leader of the National Conference, the son of Farooq Abdullah, is concerned, I heard him recently say that any prospects of fixing the situation in Kashmir actually was dashed, and he hopes for that when Parvez Musharraf stepped down from power, and he held the only window of opportunity to that end. Now, what do you say to that?
See, as I said earlier, the elections are for internal administration, and recently the major political parties like National Conference said that elections in Kashmir have no bearing on the final solution of Kashmir. That is to be done. And for that, the process is taking place, and a peace process is going on between India and Pakistan. Now the question you came up with is losing out the opportunity when Musharraf was stepped down from the presidentship. Yes, I must say it's not but one-sided. See, it was a very good opportunity for India to get Kashmir problem solved forever in presence of President Musharraf. Now he is gone. That time what India did, it just buyed time. It just went into the smaller peace processes, which actually didn't help in the final solution, which Musharraf wanted. Musharraf actually wanted a final solution to be done as quickly as possible. In his innings, I would say, as long as he was, as he said in India many times, that is, I'm the final, India is the final opportunity of solving Kashmir forever if they want it to be when I am president of Pakistan. Now that is lost forever. India, now another twist has been recently been given by the president-elect of America, Barack Obama, who has actually said in an interview that he is going to appoint a special envoy for finding out a permanent solution to the Kashmir, and the name of ex-president President Clinton has already come up. So I would say, whatever the discussions have gone so far, elections I don't take as a part as whatever has been India has been projected into the world. We know here people that is not the final solution. The Kashmir solution is to be found, and until and unless there is not international pressure on India to solve it, like the recent one from America, things are not going to come to a normal place. You may see for some time there will be peace in Kashmir, but some after time there may be some spark, like my friend in London said that there were thousands of people on the road last summer. I mean, anytime this thing can happen again, and we can have another hundreds of people die in such processes as last time. Nearly 70 people died and thousands of people got really, sadly injured.
Shabir Ahmed, let me expedite matters here, and I will get back to you to finish that comment. Now, addressing you, Ahmad Raza Kasuri. Now, clearly Musharraf is gone, and in his absence and in the wake of his stepping down from power, we have Mr. Zardari as your president, and I'm not going to refer to his recent controversial remarks made in an interview with Wall Street Journal at all, but how do you appraise his cooperations with his Indian counterpart in helping basically to resolve the situation in Kashmir?
Well, the representative government of Pakistan, which is on a very weak wicket economically in the country, they may not be in a position to resolve the issues, but Musharraf certainly was in a position to do so. But Musharraf was actually came out with this solution because there was a propaganda from the Indian side that Pakistan is very adamant and Pakistan is very firm on this issue, and they have their own point of view. Musharraf, by saying that, well, we would like to solve the problem, he sent the ball into the court of India, and Musharraf knew that ball will not be returned from the Indian court back to the Pakistani court, and that's precisely what happened. But it exonerated the position of Pakistan that we are not adamant. We are prepared to resolve this issue on the basis of principles, on the basis of the international commitment which India and Pakistan both has given, that is to say, to hold fair and free plebiscite.
Okay, now let me shift to London and to Muzzammil Thakur. Now, Mr. Thakur, I know your concerns are a lot larger and bigger than focusing on the current elections held today, but in a minimalistic perspective, now, it has been argued that the true test to a true democracy, it's the issue of normalcy, and if a country is able to ensure that, then it is a good sign and yardstick for measuring that. Now, to what extent is normality prevailing and prevalent in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and how has that affected the elections held today?
There has been no normalcy since 1947. The concept of normalcy is implied by Indian media. During the, not so much riots, but during the revolution, if you will, in Kashmir over the past few months, they completely blocked all newspaper, all news channels, everything about what was happening in Kashmir. So the normalcy that they're portraying to the world is not the reality that is in Kashmir. They refuse to acknowledge that there were 2.3 million people on the streets. They refuse to acknowledge that there were so many people being killed and injured. Since 1989, forget since 1947, just since 1989, since the militancy started, there have been nearly 10,000 rapes and nearly 150,000 deaths. What normalcy can there possibly be in Kashmir? The problem fundamentally lies with India. Pakistan have over the years shown some flexibility as well as some willingness to negotiate on Kashmir. However, at the same time, India still consider, no matter how many times they come to the table and discuss Kashmir, India will always consider, still consider, and always have considered Kashmir to be an integral part of India. So if they consider Kashmir to be an integral part of India, no matter how many discussions that they have, no matter how many negotiations that they have with Pakistan, it is still not enough until, number one, they change their opinion about the Kashmiri's relevance to the Indian nation, and number two, until they have the Kashmiri people on the negotiating table as well. This is not a bilateral issue, it's a tripartite issue.
Okay, and finally...